Martial arts have traditionally been used as a means of self-defense and physical activity. Participants often fight each other, and there's a real risk of broken bones, concussions, and knockouts.
Now we're at throw for throw, are we?
But in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, martial arts are being used for a different purpose entirely. Matthew McIntosh is an 18-year-old student of Croydon Community School, a secondary school for children at serious risk of non-completion of their secondary education. Before coming to Croydon, Matt had been bullied at previous schools and was constantly sick from stress. He is present on the autism spectrum and found mainstream school a challenge.
Just before I started the MAT program stuff and moved to Croydon, had a lot of health issues, and high school was not a realistic option for me at the time, so I had to make a choice and get out of that kind of mainstream environment. About 1 to 2 weeks out of every month I was homesick from stress. I wasn't keeping up with the work, and life generally wasn't very good. It's a very horrible place to be in.
But at his new school, he discovered the use of martial arts as therapy, or MAT. The MAT program is a mandatory class for the 110 students at Croydon and allows them to undertake specialised martial arts classes as part of their curriculum. It's based around the concept of mindfulness, being in the moment, acknowledging your emotions, and working to make choices that improve your situation, taught through a range of martial arts exercises that are practical applications of these concepts.
Alright, and repeat after me. Be strong! Be strong! Be calm!
Be calm.
Be kind!
Be kind.
Try hard! Try hard! There we go.
For Matthew, starting the martial arts as therapy program has changed his life.
After I started the program and training in martial arts, everything became so much more positive. The ideas behind the MAT program and the ideas that you kind of learn and pick up through training really help your outlook in life, and it gives you something to work towards.
These programs are run in Melbourne by not-for-profit education support organisation Options. They have been running for over 10 years and now operate in more than 50 schools. But how does using martial arts as a therapy work? And what scientific evidence supports this sort of therapy? Catherine Legg is an occupational therapist who researched the use of martial arts therapy as part of a Monash University thesis. She says there's a fairly consistent body of research that supports the mental health and behavioural benefits of traditional martial arts.
There is quite a lot of research out there, depending on the type of martial arts. There's different areas that have all been researched, but as a collection, generally the research seems to support varying degrees, saying that traditional martial arts, which are the ones that focus on mindfulness training, self-regulation and control, lead to decreased aggression, improved mental and physical health in a range of ways. It can also help in school situations as well, decreasing those kinds of behaviours.
But what's more dangerous are martial arts that don't have a component of mindfulness, like modern martial arts including boxing and wrestling.
I was trying to see if there was evidence out there that didn't support what I was saying, so I was looking for studies that found that it did increase aggression, and generally the only ones that ever had that result were the ones which were modern martial arts, where really the aim of the modern martial art and the focus of it is, learning the physical techniques, learning the attack moves, the blocking moves, which, can be good for children and is a good sport. But that was really the focus of it, whereas that's quite different to modern martial arts, where to traditional martial arts, where the focus is to be able to feel your muscles and be able to be in control of yourself. and then that translates into how you think about what you're doing, whereas the modern martial arts is more thinking about how can I take down my opponent. There's a very big competitive nature to it.
Taylor Jones, a 16-year-old from Croydon community, was in that violent and aggressive place before he started the MAT program.
When I first started here, I would say a violent kid. I wasn't doing well here at school. I was getting into fights, getting out in the streets, doing the naughty stuff. Probably at the time I was in a really bad place. Just not really caring what people had to say, just going off doing my own little thing.
The benefit of doing the therapy for Taylor is that it lets him get his aggression out in a safe space, and he's thinking about what he's doing at the same time.
If you do running or cycling, you're not really getting your violence and your anger out, because with you can actually get it out through fighting, but it's sort of therapy. You get it out, then you sort of relax and calm down after you're doing it, and then you sort of, you can take in a lot more of what they're trying to get out to you, as opposed to running on a treadmill or going on a cycle, bike, or just going for a ride or a run. You just lose all your energy, but you still got that anger inside of you. So you can just talk to somebody about your issues, but then it's not going to get very far, because there's so much you can talk and take in and let out when you're talking, as opposed to physically and talking at the same time. And it just sort of gave me an idea and perspective that you don't have to be an idiot on the street. You don't have to go off, get into fights. You don't have to be that tough guy all the time. You can just just be behind the scenes and just relax and just.
Bronwyn Harcourt is principal of Croydon Community. She says Taylor's background is not an unusual one.
There's 110 kids enrolled at Croydon Community. There's 110 reasons for having come here. The one similar reason that they have is that they're at significant risk of not completing secondary education. 75% of our kids don't operate at expected benchmarks in literacy and numeracy. We are the worst performing school in the state for NAPLAN. Kids with very serious mental health issues, substance abuse issues, youth justice issues. A whole class operates off campus from here that live in out-of-home care, so resi units, kinship arrangements, those kinds of things.
And it seems the change the program has helped create in one of the state's most troubled schools has been enormous.
The change to, rowdy, impulsive young boys, or boys who turned into respectful young men who provided unsolicited leadership to other kids around the school and would step in and quieten other kids down and talk to them about, yeah mate, I know how you're feeling, let's go for a walk, let's try this, and the whole culture of the school has changed.
The benefits of martial arts therapy appear clear for the hundreds of children who have gone through these programs. But there are genuine concerns that have been raised about using martial arts as a form of therapy. Chief among these is that the programs teach violence to young people who may have mental or behavioural difficulties. I spoke to Steve Golding, the program's manager and founder of the Options Martial Arts as Therapy programs, about teaching dangerous moves to these troubled kids.
Yeah, you're right. A chair can be an inherently dangerous thing because it's a solid object. So can we actually say, let's recognise this reality, let's work with the reality for a lot of our kids who've seen violence and aggression in different ways, and let's position it differently. I think the classic thing of talking about, I want to be a warrior. Well, warriors don't spend a whole lot of time training to fight their families. They spend a whole lot of time so that they can protect people. So it's in that acknowledgement and reframe that I think is part of our success.
Victoria has an autonomous schooling system where schools have relative freedom to select the programs they offer students. While the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development does not directly oversee the options programs, they do comply with the department's safety in physical education and sports guidelines for the specific area of martial arts. Memorandums of understanding around issues of safety and curriculum also exist between the department and options.
To my knowledge, after 14 years, we are quite, I think, healthily paranoid to want to know about this sort of stuff. There isn't anything that I know of that has meant that there's a concern that hasn't been successfully addressed.
Though research has been done on the therapeutic benefits of martial arts, little of it relates particularly to the options programs. Beyond the reports of the children and schools themselves, it's difficult to know the exact benefits these kids are getting. But Golding says the fact they keep on coming back is indicator of success enough itself.
Straight away, one of the things you'll find is that kids vote with their feet. If they're not enjoying it, they won't turn up, or they'll find a way to avoid it. So when we can find feedback from schools or other agencies saying, you know what, when these programs are on, we're getting more of the kids turning up in a more positive frame than we've had before, and since engagement is one of the real challenges, then straight away by design we've got something.
Legg says it's important more research is done in this area to fully pin down why it is these programs appear to be working.
More research is definitely needed from my own personal experience of doing this study, and also just being involved in previous groups and looking at the research. It does all seem to be very promising in terms of very similar results in different age groups and gender groups. This general idea of, you know, the behavioural improvement, the social improvement, the self-esteem improvement seems to be coming through all the way. And I think that having more research of larger groups and more in-depth research could really help to not just, you know, help this program to be continued in other areas, but to really break down to the core of why is this program effective.
Concerns have also been raised about the use of MAT programs in schools for children with disabilities. One such school is Heatherwood in Melbourne's east for children with mild intellectual impairments. MAT instructors do not have specialised qualifications for working with children with disabilities, but Golding says this is actually an advantage.
In the early days when I first started working with Heatherwood, I was doing group with these young people, and I wasn't getting the outcomes I was expecting. I was wondering if I was trying the wrong things in the right way, and so I went to a staff meeting and apologised and said, look, I know what we're trying to do, it's not like there's anything wrong happening, but I wonder if we're getting as far as we could get. And the feedback from staff's going, it's great, we're getting all these kids smiling, we're doing this good stuff, they're remembering these lessons around self-control in the yard, they're talking about the coding amongst themselves, they're looking forward to next week. I kind of sat back and went, wow, and said, all right, well, how does that make sense? We think, well, the kids that we are at the school, they are in our community. We see them in the supermarket, we see them on public transport. Why are we, for some reason, saying that, because of a level of disability, the rest of us can't interact? So if we take that approach and we bring people with the appropriate experience and training in terms of the martial art therapy life skills, and let them have an opportunity to engage with these kids, what will happen? And the outcome has been that each instructor brings their own personality through that framework without any of the limiting expectations.
Amid questions of research, safety and method, one thing's for certain. Martial arts therapy has worked for Taylor, Matthew and other young people just like them I met in Melbourne and Sydney. Taylor now works for a school catering to children with disabilities in Croydon and is undertaking TAFE study in disability and fitness. He says the martial arts as therapy program gave him patience.
I didn't have time for anybody. Like if someone was trying to have a chat with me and I wasn't interested, get out of my face, go away. As opposed to now, I'm now working in a field for work where patience is pretty much the biggest key. You don't have patience, you struggle. And actually, when I first started working there, to be able to think that I didn't have any patience like this, and the MAT program sort of helped create that, is probably a good thing.
And Taylor's outlook on violence has completely changed.
Last time I was in a fight was pretty much when I started the MAT program. Now it's, if someone wants to fight me or I want to fight them, I'll stand and actually talk to them about my issues. If they want to have a go, I don't care, I'm going to walk away. You can have your little spiel or whatever, I'm just going to walk off, I'm not interested in you. But I guess that thing of, not letting people, as I call pullers, so they pull you down from where you're trying to achieve and your goals, keep you down on their level because they think that they're better than you and you're just useless. As opposed to being where I want to be as a climber, which is, slowly going up to achieve further goals.
There we go. Good job. Excellent.
And for Matthew McIntosh, the Croydon program has been just the beginning. It's given him a passion for martial arts that's changed his entire outlook on life.
Beginning the program was the start of a whole series of changes for me. Through the MAT program, it was my kind of foot in the door into the martial arts world. Once I started, I had something that I really wanted to do, and I just wanted to keep on doing more and more of it, so I could really focus myself onto one thing that I enjoyed, and which kind of gave me a bit of hope or reason to really strive to improve. After I started the MAT program, I started training at a dojo elsewhere, and that's really been the centre of my life for the last 3 years, and I have the MAT program to thank for that.